Hello, and welcome back to Connect to Love on the Vibrant Living Network here on PRN-FM. I'm LeRose, and I want to share with you today a few different things that Michael and I really embody and touches our heart. So just if you would just take a minute and just take a sense of where you are in the world and just take a deep breath and drop into your heart. Just allow yourself a moment to disconnect from what you're doing. And I just want you to feel your body and recognize that there's no single point where your body begins and where it ends. You are a continuous flow of energy and frequency. And within that beautiful powerhouse of your body is a field that we call vibration, frequency, and resonance. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today because, Michael and I, there's so much in the relationship that he and I have forged. And, Michael, I want to welcome you. You so embody the principles of the heart, and you emanate that through everybody that you touch, through every level of your being and your spirit. And first of all, I'd like to say welcome.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful acknowledgement. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here every week with you. I got to tell you, and I've told you this before, that it's one of the highlights of my week, really, because we have the opportunity to create something that is positive, that can help others elevate their own vibrational frequency and resonance every week by just finding the what I call the treasure in what we talk about every week, and using that treasure, that gold or diamond or whatever that morsel of precious stone is that they can mine from our conversation to enrich their own life right there on the spot and for the next day and going forward in their life. That, the goal here in the mission that I think we put forth is to help people elevate their vibration, help people elevate their frequency, give them tools and tips that they can use to actually do that instead of, being sucked into the vortex of negativity and drama and all the toxicity that exists that is there to contaminate your state of being. It is simply an illusion. I see all of that as an opportunity to practice elevating your vibrational frequency and resonance, to becoming aware of what the impact is having on you, and then using the alchemy of to change the resonance from which you're vibrating from. The frequency is, that's the beauty of this. Instead of seeing it as real, it's not real. It's all an illusion. It's all there for one reason or another. Lord knows what that reason may be. Except for us individually, we can see it as an opportunity to maintain our own happiness, our own balance, in spiritual balance, life balance, mental balance, frequency balance. That's what we can use these experiences that are going on, these events that are going on. And I know it's almost impossible right now. I'll just come out and talk about the elephant in the room. At the time we're recording this, because podcasts and radio shows live in perpetuity, at the time we are having this conversation this week, for the last couple of weeks we've had the Ukrainian situation unfolding. And there's a lot of trauma that is occurring to many people. However, there's also the people who have awakened to the sense of their own, that they are the ones creating their reality. And I look for this within the conversations that when I get news or information about Ukraine, I'm looking for those people who have awakened to the fact that they create the reality, not someone else. They don't allow somebody else to create the reality. They're the ones who decide, look, I'm taking this, matters into my own hands. I'm creating the reality I want for myself, and however I do that is the way I do that. And which is something that I encourage everybody to do, is not necessarily simply to react and to have something outside of you dictate what your experience of life is. You have the ability to create your own experience of reality every single day by the way that you interpret all the events and circumstances that you expose yourself to every day. So it's meaningful and fulfilling and joyful and happy when you understand that you can participate, and actually it opens up a whole new world. It opens up a whole new world for you, and it's a world that I get excited about every day when I get up, because I've been doing this for decades, creating my reality every single day in the midst of one crisis, one adversity after another, either to me or to the world at large. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. And when you see that something as a platform for being able to help you bring meaning and joy and fulfillment to your life, to be able to interpret it in a way other than the way it's being presented to you, because there's always a different interpretation based on whatever you've experienced in your life. There's always another interpretation. So I'm going to stop talking about that now and just simply say I'm loving the fact that we're having this conversation. And I would love for you, just so everybody's on the same page, kind of expound upon vibration, frequency, and resonance from your perspective, because it's important.
So, I thank you, Michael. Everything has a vibrational frequency, and everything vibrates, even though we don't see it as such. The table that you may be sitting at, or the desk or the chair you're sitting on, has a vibrational frequency. It may be more dense than what you are, so we don't feel it. It's just a very, it's a slower frequency. Now, within that resonance, if you think about a bell, or if you've ever been in a clock shop and the clocks seem to be ticking at the same rate. Now, I'm not talking about digital clocks. I'm talking about the old-fashioned wind-up ones, but they would tend to be in a vibrational harmony. So within the law of resonance, it's an energy field that connects everything. It communicates with everything. Even our beliefs, as our heart has an energetic field, our brain puts off a vibrational frequency. One of the things that I found so fascinating many years ago, because we're learning so many different things, that when a baby is starting to form within the womb, the heart will actually start beating before the brain is formed. So before there is thoughts, there is vibration, there is frequency, there is resonance. So, I think that it's something that has really, really fascinated me. Within frequency, there's no distance. You think about how you and I are communicating on PRN-FM to our listeners. It's a vibrational frequency of our voice that's amplified and expanded on. So everything that we're connected to, and everyone in our field, is really part of our resonance field. So everything that we think, feel, or say is part of that field. So whether it be positive or the opposite positive, it's part of that resonant field. Now, what I really like about the law of resonance is that whoever or whatever shows up is also part of that resonance. They can't help but be attracted to us for whatever reason, whether it be positive or negative. And within that resonant field, we can make different choices. And I think that when you start to recognize that everything that you possess within your inner world and within your vibration you encounter in the outer world, that you can actually change the way things happen. So, and I think, Michael, what I so love about you and about alchemy is about being able to transform that. So if you are vibrating at, say, perhaps a denser frequency, one of the tricks that I learned through a woman, she was actually a physician, She was talking about how during the early communist days, they removed all of the bells from the churches. And you think, well, why would they do that? Because a bell has a vibrational frequency. So if somebody is vibrating at a frequency of negativity or whatnot, and they hear a bell ringing, it just can take them right out because it's a higher vibrational frequency. You can actually attune to that vibration. And so I have a little silver bell that I keep in my kitchen. And whenever I'm, sort of find myself stuck in a rut of a vibration that doesn't serve me to my highest good, I just take that bell and I ring it. And I ring it throughout. It might sound a little bit strange, but I ring it throughout my whole energy field. And I feel different. I feel better. Whatever it is, it's just enough to make that change. Now, Michael, do you have something that you do to help shift your resonant frequency?
I have certain music that I can listen to. I've got several CDs around here from Stephen Halperin, and oh my gosh, a lot of.
You probably sit down at your drum kit.
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm listening to music then, but yeah, the frequencies that are that I generate from all four limbs when I sit it down on my drum set to play, they really take you out of a lower frequency that you're in and really elevate it to another level. You just feel awesome, and the beauty of that is it's an act of creation. And enlightenment, I should let people know, enlightenment, love, joy, fulfillment, this is the hierarchy. Enlightenment, I discovered, is the highest frequency that you can vibrate at, and which is knowledge, which is interesting. And to that end, I let people know is if you are feeling down, if you're vibrating at a lower negative frequency of fear, worry, frustration, anxiety, doubtfulness, lack of self-confidence, when you're feeling low and you want to elevate yourself, one of the easiest things that you can do is expose your mind to something that is positive. Mm-hmm. And so that may be a book, that may be a song that your favorite. It may be a movie that is one of your favorites that makes you feel amazing. Isn't it amazing how you can watch movies, and part of the formula of the movie is that by the end of the movie you feel like it makes you feel like you can do anything. I love that, how Hollywood can create that. There are various television shows that can create that as well, but there are certain movies that you can watch, and by the end of the movie, no matter what happens in the movie, it's an overcoming adversity story, whatever, and there's always a great ending. I don't really watch football throughout the year. However, there are some great sports movies where there are football teams, or there are soccer teams, or there are the Mighty Ducks. Okay, the Disney movie, the Mighty Ducks. The whole movie is about how this team overcomes adversity to win, and if you watch that movie when you are in a lower level, lower frequency mood, experiencing the fear or the frustration or the worry or the fight and struggle of life, and watch that movie, I dare you, your frequency not to be elevated by the end of it. It's almost impossible not to be caught up in it and to feel as though you're floating on a cloud by the time it's over. And so if you think about it, going to that movie, watching that movie is a choice. And these are choices we make all the time. And I just happen to me, I'm sure you do too, I make choices throughout the day that enhance my vibrational frequency instead of depress it. And we have power of choice. We just basically, and I frame my whole mental approach to life around, I want to be elevated. I want to be living in the state of joy and happiness. I want to be experiencing and feeling it in the present moment. And I told my girlfriend just the other day, I said, I have gotten to the point where I am joyful and happy about everything. I wake up in the morning and I look outside and I see the sunrise, and I'm like looking at the nuances of each sunrise. because it's right at my bedroom window. I can just stand up and watch the sun come up and over the trees. And what's really kind of interesting is there are various nuances to the sunrise, as there are the sunset. And the moonrises, same things. It's really cool to take a moment, and after you get out of bed, to make it a point to get up in the morning. When we went to Hawaii a few years ago, we purposely got a place right on the beach on the east side of Kauai, and every morning at 5:15 we were out of bed to step out the door and onto the beach and watch the sunrise. And if you don't feel excited, full of life, vibrant, vibrating at the highest frequency possible, which is, the enlightenment, love, and joy, feeling anything is possible in your life, everything is possible, a sunrise will do it for you. Because it's a beginning.
Without a doubt.
It's a beginning. It's not the end like a sunset. It's the beginning of a day. And you can simply say, I've got this day. I can do anything I want to do with this day. You can sit there and watch the sunrise, and in your mind, while watching it, have one or two affirmations that you say to yourself about how you will create the day, the best day for yourself. How you will make the most magnificent day. You will craft it. You will make sure that nothing interferes with the stuff out there that doesn't mean anything, that won't be valuable, has no value now, and won't have any value in 24 hours either, is not going to interrupt, not going to invade your vibrational frequency and bring it down. It's going you're going to stay up there, no matter what happens, because there's a way of dealing with everything in a positive way. It's just a matter of your interpretation. So that's what I do, and it's not so much I like the bell thing though. I really like that. Tuning fork is what came to mind.
I just bought this little silver bell, and it wasn't very expensive, and tuning forks can be quite pricey. So it works for me.
What about the bowls can too, the brass bowls that you?
I have some Tibetan singing bowls.
Right,
and
there you go.
They have the quartz ones. Yeah, I love my little bell.
Run your finger or run the tool, whatever it is you run around the edge, and oh my gosh, the sound that is produced is magical. And we all have to find our metaphor for a bell. We all have to find that can help us, because that sound is a form of alchemy. It does shift and change your thinking. Vibration is incredibly important. I don't normally discuss this kind of thing with people. However, I'm going to simply tell you that in the book Journey of Souls that I've mentioned to you many times, it's a clinical view of lives between lives. And the gentleman who's passed on, who wrote this book, Michael Newton, PhD, who has taught other people to do what he was doing, to help people understand their life between lives, and to give them a sense of why their soul is here. However, one of the things he mentions in the beginning in the first few chapters of the book, when you talk about dying and passing on, there are two things that help cleanse our aura, cleanse this earthly place from us, this reality, which is one of the harshest realities, evidently, in the universe for a soul, is color and vibration. Color and vibration are the two things. Now you wonder, why is it that music can make you feel a certain way? Why is it when you see a certain color that you can feel a certain way? Our soul memory is remembering. It has a cleansing effect. It has a way of cleansing away the lower frequencies and elevating our frequency. Color can do that. Sound can do that. And which is why I'm a big fan of music. I listen to it. I play it. Even if you don't play music, though, the beautiful thing is everyone, and I do mean everybody, can recognize music that resonates with them, that makes them feel happy, joyful. And you just have to recognize that you're feeling that way when you're hearing whatever it is. And whenever I do that, I have my Shazam on my phone, and I capture the song. And I add it to a playlist, my like playlist, right? And that way, when I'm running around or doing something, or I'm exposed to something, and I've temporarily gone off the rails, and I'm worrying about something or frustrated about something, I can turn that music on, and it immediately it acts like your bell. It shifts me back into the frequency that I know that I desire to be operating in, and that music is alchemy for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. And I think when you can keep your field resonating at a higher vibration, it's sort of like a motor. And when you were talking about the beach, I was getting sort of that illusion that, you get in your car and, you kind of warm it up. And so you're kind of taking in the colors of the sunrise and, and it's bringing your motor a little bit, and then pretty soon you're ready to shift it into gear and sort of take off. And when you take off, the higher the oscillation, the quicker you go. But I think, for many of us, to apply that analogy of being sort of like a car and, what are you going to do? What are you feeding your body? What are you, whether it be are you feeding it good books? Are you feeding it healthy food? Are you feeling, just the people around you? And even and we've talked about this many times, Michael, is your talk about yourself. That when you praise yourself, we're so hard on ourselves, like, oh, why did I do that? I remember I'll never forget my grandmother going through her recipe book, and, in her recipes that she wrote, she put 1 cup of flour, you stupid nut. Next to one of her favorite recipes. And I thought, oh my, and here it is. Every time I go through there, it's like not 2 cups, 1 cup of flour, you stupid nut. But how many times, if you walked up to somebody and you said that to them, they'd look at you. But we talk to ourselves that way.
Yeah.
So if you want to shift what's going on and take your car out of, troubles and sadness and hopelessness, what's the fastest way to do that? Praise yourself.
Right.
Find something, even if it was 10 years ago, that you did well. Geez, you know what? I remember that. I was really good at that when I was 6 years old. How did I get away from that?
Someone convinced you that it wouldn't make that you couldn't make a living doing it, because somehow parents always want their kids to be thinking about making a living, and really what they're doing is they're living from joy and love and happiness, vibrating it at the ultimate frequencies. They are curious, inquisitive. They're amazing little beings who come out of the womb vibrating at a high frequency, and then the first thing that unfortunately many parents do is they want to quell that curiosity. They want to quell that inquisitiveness, that joy. No, you can't be like that, because we have to conform. We have to fit in to a society, so to speak. People will laugh at you if you act like that, and the such, because they're embarrassed, right? They don't want to be embarrassed and pushing their lack onto their kids. Unfortunately, I see a lot of that. And as a matter of fact, the gentleman I keep talking to, he asked me that very question the other day. Why can I not be like I used to be? I said, well, because someone put you as a square peg and forced you into a round hole, and you're feeling a little uncomfortable. As you bid it, you said, I have to contort myself to fit here, and really there's a place later in life for that, for being able to go out and conform if you want to or not. However, something that came to mind when you were talking there is a saying that I came up with a couple of weeks ago, which is live from your successes instead of your mistakes. People beat themselves up. Beat themselves up instead of keeping a mental list of all the successful things that you've done, the things that went well, the things that helped you move forward, the things you finally succeeded at after many tries. You can either focus on the last successful effort, or you can go back and relive all of the efforts that didn't turn out so well. And after it's over, after you've already invented or created the moment or had the success or had the achievement, the only thing that matters in the future is the achievement, not what happened prior to that. And none of that is relevant any longer. Yet there's this desire to relive the pain and suffering that occurred. No. You made it. You yourself created the positive moment. Live from the positive moment, not all the negative moments. So your first marriage, second marriage, third marriage didn't work out so well. Are you going to beat yourself up because they didn't? Because doing that will sure enough have an impact on whether or not you have the kind of relationship you really want. Because you're not going to have the vibrational frequency that is going to attract someone into your life that is exactly the person that you want, that's operating at the frequency, that's going to be the loving, the kind, generous person that whatever your vision of that perfect person is, unless you are operating from that frequency yourself, you're really only going to attract people who are going to validate that frequency. And that's really the issue in life, that it's the conundrum, so to speak. We want happiness, yet we have to be happy first inside. We have to generate that happiness from within, like a little generator, right? We have to vibrate from that frequency ourselves. We want love in our lives. Well, if you're walking around wondering why nobody loves you and beating yourself up, you're going to experience the validation of that by attracting validating experiences in people that will resonate with that negativity that you're putting upon yourself. And it seems easy when you talk about it, yet for many people it's very complicated because it's ingrained in them to beat themselves up from one thought virus or another that they were given, or maybe 100 thought viruses from people that they knew and respected and cared for. It's this thing that we have to grasp, is that when we're creating our reality because we're creating ourselves in the vision of the reality that we want. You have to go inside before you go out in order to get outside.
You're 100% right.
And that's good.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, when you don't have what you want, something that you want, it's because you haven't created the right resonant field to attract it.
Exactly.
There's something within you, and sometimes it's something that needs to be healed. Sometimes it's being truly honest with yourself. I think that, I always joke and say I want to come out of this life as karmically clean as possible. So I try to look at my stuff. Why is this showing up? Okay, if it's the same, because a lot of times it will be the same lesson. It'll be a different person, it'll be a different scenario. But if I really distill it all the way down, it's the same lesson that I am getting again. So obviously there's an aspect of me that I haven't healed, and I need to shift, and I need to grow from that. I need to change it.
Right.
Do I beat myself up about it? No, but I also, and this last week I've had some real life-affirming challenges. And there were lots of different ways that I could look at it. And one of them was really comical because it had to do with a toilet breaking, in the midst of trying to get a place ready to rent, and I had just a few hours, and I'm thinking, what is the lesson with this?
Yeah, really.
With this,
why can't I get this thing to work?
Yeah, right. And it was like, okay, can anybody help me? And it's like, I got to do it. I've got to do this myself. And I thought, there's lots of different ways to approach it. The best way to approach it, instead of fiddling with all the little components within this toilet, is to go to the store, and I purchased a brand new one. Was it something I wanted to do? No, but you know what? It was the best, most, rather than dealing with all the little intricacies, I was like, okay, this isn't working for me. I've got to make this work, and I've got to make it work quick. And it was lots of different things that were similar situations, that was sort of like the icing on the cake. And so, I think you get into that cycle, and as you said, it's in a relationship, so if loyalty, honesty, caring, closeness, trust, sensuality, patience are things that you want in a relationship, develop those qualities in yourself.
Right. They must emanate from you first. You brought up the word karma, which I think, and I pulled out a piece of a note paper that I was writing some things down on from a friend of mine who happens to live in Siem Reap. He's an expat, and he was talking to Buddhist monks over there. He's befriended a few Buddhist monks, and he was talking about karma, which he was under the impression that karma was something where if you don't do it right this time, you're going to come back and do it the next time, whatever. And they said, no. Karma, living from karma, is making sure that your actions are from integrity and honesty now. Are you being a good person? Are you living from being a good person? Are you living from love, compassion, empathy, and kindness? Is that the way you approach your day? Is that the way you approach your conversations, your interactions, your relational connections? Is that the way is that your state of being? Is love, kindness, empathy, and compassion, is that your state of being? Is that the way you approach your day? And that's what karma, he says, karma means in Buddhism is it's the vibration. I interpret this as being, it's the vibrational frequency you establish and go through the day with.
Mm-hmm.
Because that has a reverberating effect, right? Are you spreading good?
Right.
Are you spreading love? Are you spreading compassion and empathy? Are you acting, thinking, and being from that? And I find that to be for most people it's a conundrum to actually, because there's so many outside influences that are seeking to have your attention and your focus. And you have to make it your mission, your intention, when you get up in the morning, to approach the day consciously, approach it with intention, approach it with a state of being that embraces those things, love and kindness and peace, compassion, empathy, and you approach every encounter throughout the day from that perspective, instead of letting the drama or circumstance or challenge of the situation dictate how you feel about yourself and what you're capable of, and instead of letting it dictate your state of being. This is the reason why I at this particular point in my life, in my mid-60s, can be happy anywhere, because I am not allowing something outside of me to dictate how I feel about myself, what I'm capable of, to dictate my state of being. And when you start bringing it around that, it's all about all these things I was talking about: love, empathy, compassion, kindness. They're all higher vibrational frequencies. It's not that much of a challenge to embrace that first thing in the morning. I'm like a kid in the candy store when I get up. I'm on the way to the barn. Yeah, when there's a specific turn. I only look at the sunrise. I'll be on the way to the barn, leaving the neighborhood, and the sun gets to a certain part in the sky on certain mornings, and it'll a very unique sunset. I can see it when I'm getting ready to walk out the door. But then I get in the car and I'm driving down the road, and my girlfriend and I go into the barn, and I go, "Just hold a minute. She says, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, I got to get a picture of this." So I have all these pictures on my phone of these sunrises that are just spectacular. And then we get on the road, and there's a turn that we make where we take a long eastward direction. And I have these pictures that I've put on my Instagram page, and I have many of them on my phone, of the sun in the mirror, on the right rear view mirror, on the right side of the car. I'll be driving down, and you can see the sun, what it's doing over the clouds. And I've taken a picture of the sunrise in the mirror as I'm looking at it.
Oh, right? How fun.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm going, hey, let me catch another one. And, there gets to be a point where the sun is just a little too high above the trees, where it's just a big ball of orange and you really don't have a lot of definition. But you just have to catch it at certain times of the year. You can catch it at a point where it's just kind of coming up, and the trees are breaking up, fragmenting its rays, and perhaps there might be a little fog, or there's some clouds, there's certain striations of clouds that will create this amazing picture. And another time when we turn down the road to go to the barn, it's also to the east. So we have an east, a north, and then another east, and then we're at the barn. So we'll make that turn, and believe it or not, at certain time of the year, then it'll also occur where I will get another. Well, it'll diffuse the light because I'm closer to the skinny pulp trees, pine trees, and it'll just diffuse that light right through. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And she's looking at me going, what are you talking about? I'm like,
it'd be nice for you to put those in a book, Michael. I think that would be really beautiful with some of your thoughts. Well, because each sunrise and the colors that you see, it fills your soul. It makes you happy, and it brings out, whatever it is that it's nurturing within you. You recognize that, and you make the time. You don't like, oh no, I've got to be here. If I'm not here at a certain time, it's not, nothing in your day is more important for you than that moment to be able to say, like, you know what, okay, I'm going to drink a little bit of this in this morning.
Oh, absolutely. That is the absolute truth. Everything here we're talking about is associated with vibrational frequency, either operating from it, making sure you're elevating it, performing the alchemy. That sunrise is another form of alchemy. Whatever I was thinking about before I saw it is gone. If I had encountered something before leaving the house, it dissipates. My mood and my frequency is elevated to the point where I'm just singing happily, mucking stalls and dropping hay and playing with the horses or petting the horses, and they're 29 years old and they're like, hey, I've been there for a long time. Who are you? But they're you can see the love in their eyes, and it's interesting to me that
it is.
We live in a life, we live in a world where the littlest things are taken for granted. Some of the most beautiful things that we have that are absolutely free to everyone if we just pay attention. And there's the same thing happens at the end of the day when the sun is my back of my house faces to the east, and the sun sets on the other side of the house. But there's a certain point where it gets low enough in the sky, and I know you know what I'm talking about, and our listeners do as well, where the sun will create these color. I call them striations, but they're really color bands against the pine trees, and it will go from like a golden, and the sun will be going down, and they'll change to an orange and a red, depending on the time of day and whether whether there's some clouds over or what the weather's like, and whether there's level of humidity or whatever. But you'll see these bands of light come through the trees, and the house will create a shadow. Then there'll be a band of light, and there's another tree. It's just, you're looking at it and you're going, that is absolutely gorgeous. You just want to stop what you're doing and just look at it. And these moments exist throughout your day. You just have to look for them, be open to them, and it makes everything else melt away. As a matter of fact, it makes everything else that you think is important, it makes it insignificant. Because
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, in the grander scheme of things, it's nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if I were there with you, Michael, I could look at that same sunrise or that same sunset, and I could take a picture. And my picture would be different than your picture, even though we're looking at the same thing. And, imagine if we had, maybe 100 people, and we were all together, and we were all taking pictures, and we compared, because we all see different things. Nobody can see through your eyes. Nobody can know what you're feeling. Nobody can, tune into your thoughts. It's your own form of expression, and I really think that, if we did come together, we would be able to, gather in those changes. And I love when you talk about those bands of color, because it made me think of, color has a vibration, it has a frequency. You see those colors because they're at a certain vibrational frequency that is in the light spectrum. Mm-hmm. And, so each one of us, we may not be, maybe I wake up and, maybe I'll be a little bit blue, and then I'll move into, maybe I'll go into the greens or yellows or reds or, some of the purples that come in the evening. But you don't beat yourself up for not being the same as somebody else. And I think that, that is really how, we change. And to really own your truth and stand by who you are, all facets of your being, no matter what they are. Nobody is perfect. There's just not one person on the planet that doesn't have a dark side, that doesn't have a shadow. But it's also so important to see your light and to tune into that and to allow yourself that creativity and that healing that you need. I love that analogy, Michael, with the sun and the bands, because it really does speak volumes to me about who we are, and how unique we each are.
Mm-hmm. There's beauty everywhere. There's also people who are actually, I encourage many people to look at their the things that, think back to the things that they did when they were younger that actually brought them joy and fulfillment, that they have let go by the wayside because they've had to go out and make a living and pay for life. Those things have value, and I think that when we abandon them, we abandon a part of ourselves, a part of our soul's memory, so to speak. When we're good with our hands, when we're awesome woodworkers, or we're very dexterous and we're great painter, we're good painters, or somebody who can draw or sketch. When you or knit, whatever it may be. When you are, maybe you're a great gardener. Maybe you're at one with the soil, but you don't do it enough. And what it does is it brings meaning and joy and fulfillment to your life that you may not be getting other places, yet you can take those feelings with you when you go to those other places in your life. And that's really the joy. But if you never give yourself an opportunity to participate and engage in the thing that brings you joy, might not bring any money, because not everything's about money. It may be that there's something else that it brings you, nourishment. If it's a garden, it may be. If it's a vegetable garden, it could be beauty. You can look out and you can see all the blooming colors, and it makes you feel awesome, because color is a vibration, and many of the flowers have awesome vibrational colors and resonate at very high levels. And it's just anything. And I so many people that I talk to have just abandoned the thing that really, for one reason or another, maybe their significant other told them, "No, that'll never amount to anything." It's not about amounting to something. It's about bringing a sense of joy to your life. That people who embrace that and embrace the fact that feelings from something you do that you enjoy spill over into everything else in your life. The people, your other work that you do. I know when I play the drums, I feel awesome. So that awesome feeling, that what I'm resonating at, that frequency, I carry it on with me for hours and hours, and sometimes even more hours. Taking a walk on the beach can do the same thing. Morning, evening, when the color's there, it's phenomenal. Whatever it is that allows you, enables you, I should say, to feel the joy and happiness and state in a high frequency state of being, do it. Just do it. Start out doing it for short periods of time, and then find other ways. Just weave it into your day, into your life in some way, because it's rich. It's rich.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, some people, I'm not very good at keeping a journal, but I am good at, writing notes or keeping reminders or things that really nurture me and help me reconnect and ground myself, and even to laugh at myself. We talked last week about the wow word, and so for you,
right.
If you find yourself remembering something that really does nurture your soul, and you think, wow, you know what, I was really good at clay in school, and that really made me happy, and maybe I'd like to express that. So you write that down. You write down the things that, I just think too much of society, we're just too hard on ourselves. So you find a picture of yourself or draw a picture of yourself where you felt really good. Even I like to shop in the kids department. I know that sounds really hysterically funny, but
and why
the young,
do you do that?
And because it makes me feel good. And I had this shirt on yesterday with these flowers that had big smiley faces on the flowers, and the message on the shirt said, "Love each other." And I got so many people just, and I sort of forgot that I was wearing it yesterday. But somebody said, "Wow, I really love that. Those flowers make me happy." They had just lost somebody that they loved, and they're like, "Wow, I'd like to put those flowers on their grave." It just made me feel good that it was just a an inexpensive T-shirt, sweatshirt kind of thing, but it makes me happy to wear it. I'm not very grown up in my wardrobe, I must say.
I see.
But,
we'll have to check that out when we come visit now, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you, though. I like to wear reds and oranges and cobalt blues, and I just love these bright, brilliant colors. I feel good in them, and it's a lot of times what it is. Again, society has a way of if you will let it, making you conform to it, and conformation is not a good thing. Conforming is not a good thing because it kind of takes away your individuality. Yet there is this peer pressure, this societal pressure, and we have to get to the point where we feel comfortable enough with ourselves where we don't care about what other people think about what we do, about what we say, about our state of being. As long as what's emanating from us in all the times is empathy, compassion, love, and kindness. If everything we do emanates from those four things, it really doesn't matter what we do, what we look like, where we go, what we participate in. We're not being malicious or negative towards others. A lot of times, you don't know what someone's driving motivation is behind when they say something to you that is counter to anything to what you're thinking at the time, or what you're doing, or how you're dressing, or how you're feeling at the time. And I tell people that you don't know what other people, you don't know what their motivation is, and it's none of your business. They're not saying it because they don't know who you are, really. They have no idea who you are as a person, and they're never going to. Just saying something to you, you have to develop that inner strength, that understanding and knowing of who you are, what you're good at, what makes you tick, and that you are the creator of your reality. You're the one that creates the vibration that you're at. You're the one who uses alchemy to maintain that higher level of vibration and frequency and resonance, and that's what it's about. It's these things are going to happen. There are always outside forces, whether it be people or circumstances or events that are going to happen. Whether you were sleeping like Rip Van Winkle or whether you were awake the entire time, they're still going to happen. So you can figure out a way to mitigate them, to not let them into your head. And sovereignty is all about being the ruler of your mind, body, and spirit. So you're not going to let anybody tarnish your spirit. You're the one who's going to nurture that, elevate it. You're not going to allow. You're going to be the one who's dictating what goes in and out of your mind, what makes you feel a certain way, and your body. You're the one. You're when you get to the point in life where other people say, "Hey, I would never eat that stuff," and you're going like, "Hey, you don't have to. It's not your body. It's my body. If I want to eat this, I'll eat this." Not letting peer pressure bother you, because you know who you are, because you know that you control how you feel and you dictate the reality that you experience. And it's a very empowering thing. bottom line, understanding frequencies and resonance and vibration, the concept of it, and living from it and making sure that you are consciously elevating your frequency and maintaining it throughout the day it's healthy for you. It's healthy for your body. It's healthy for your mind. It's healthy for your relationships. And it brings the richness into your life that resonates with you, with the frequencies that you're vibrating at. That's what I love about it. I don't know, can you tell? It's like, nobody's going to tell me what frequency to vibrate at. What's important to me in my life. Nobody's going to tell me that I should be sad about this thing, or that I should be angry about that thing, right? Or depressed about this thing. Those are rote patterns of reaction and response. And we don't have to participate in that. You can approach any situation in a positive way, any situation. And we as human beings have to, and human souls on this planet, on this earthly plane, need to understand that we're in control of more than what we think. And that I love creating my reality every day. I love it. Absolutely, from the moment I get up in the morning. And I don't let anyone deter me from making sure the reality I experience that day is truly of my own creation. Right. From interpretation, right?
Yeah, no, and you know what, I think part of what you're saying and what I'm hearing too is that you're plugged in. You're connected to the source of all that is, because you have made a conscious choice to plug into that field of energy. You recognize that everything within you, it has the ability to enjoy every gift that is before you. And, and again, it's not that you don't have challenges, but you've done a lot of work. And I think that's part of it too, that you have done the work. And there's no free ride. Faith moves mountains, but there is no free ride. You have to be willing to change old patterns of belief, the convictions, the opinions that we've been told about we believe about ourselves or other people have told us. And we need to, get to that point where you kind of dig your heels in and you say, no, you know what, I know this to be true about myself. I have the ability to make people smile. I like to laugh. I like to be silly. If I want to put my boots on and stomp through the puddles, guess what? I'm not too old to do that. I can reconnect with the things that bring me joy.
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. It's one of those beautiful things about life that makes it so wonderful and worth living. We have so much joy we can bring to the world and to ourselves. And if we just understood that everything starts with us, we want. I don't know a person that I've ever met that didn't want something, felt that they needed something in their life, and the magic of getting it is by embodying it now within you, imagining it, that you're already there, and the interesting thing is, I'm not a person who, I'm not a love coach or a relationship coach or anything like that. However, I know a lot of people who are single and who would like not to be single. And the one thing I tell them is, if you're single, number one, there's probably a reason for it. That reason could be that you're supposed to be working on yourself. Examine your own life. Examine how you feel about yourself and about your life and what you're projecting out there. What state of being do you have that you embody throughout the day? And understand that if you're beating yourself up, which we talked about a little bit earlier, if you're beating yourself up, if you're thinking you're not worthy and all of that, your experiences outside of you will resonate with that, and that we're gonna simply have experience. You're not going to really bring the right frequency. A higher level frequency is not going to resonate with a lower level frequency. We have to be on a par, on an even keel, and the alchemy is what we use to get there. I've spent 160 episodes of my own podcast that is basically talking about this very thing and nuts and bolts of how to do this, and I'm still fascinated. I still have new ways of approaching this every couple of times a month, and it is pretty amazing that I still have that many things I can say, that many different ways I can put it. But alchemy is a huge. It's one of our greatest gifts, is the ability to dictate how we feel and to pivot when we don't feel good, to feeling good, going from negative to positive. I call it turning lead into gold. We have that ability as alchemists. Whenever we're feeling like lead, we can turn ourselves into gold. We can turn our feelings into gold. We can turn our life from lead to gold. We can do whatever we're in control of this dog and pony show, as somebody called it the other day. We're in control of this, and the beauty of it is that we just have to recognize and start embracing it and elevating ourselves, elevating our conscious awareness. And everybody is capable of doing it. We just have to let the noise go, right? Let that noise and that distraction and that stimuli that's out there that is constantly seeking our attention, generally for profit or for some other ridiculous reason, we have to let it go. We have to change the sources, change the people we're with. You are who you're with. That terminology, that saying is, in my view, literally telling you you're with people who are resonating at a lower frequency. If you want different friends, you yourself must resonate at a higher frequency. Those friends will fall away, and it may not be pretty when they fall away. They may accuse you of being snooty or of doing whatever because they're jealous or envious that you're no longer on their level, as low as it is. And we have to understand that it's not acting from love, kindness, empathy, and compassion. We can do anything. We can communicate anything with those four things, with those four elements. We can communicate anything and everything. And so we have to understand that what other people think, and to take something from Terry Cole Whitaker, what other people think is none of our business. Right? None of my business. It's up to them. Don't know their motivations. Can't figure it out. Don't want to. It's not my job. As long as and you're not responsible for how other people feel, because they're responsible for their own feelings. As long as you know that you've approached your interaction with them from love and from kindness and empathy and compassion. I keep saying that over and over again, but it's so ingrained in frequency, right? And so much there's this butting heads, and I got to be right, and you're wrong, and that's not really it. There is no right. There's no wrong. Truth is a moving target. Your perfection doesn't exist. It's a moving target as well. Once you have a truth exists, and until new information, new enlightenment comes along that alters that truth in your mind. Your beliefs, same thing. You have beliefs, and those beliefs become altered by or shifted or transformed by new enlightenment. And that's a continual process. And so we can change our thinking. We can change who we are. And we have much more control over ourselves than we give ourselves credit for in our life and our outer reality. And so, on that note...
I would encourage anybody who has not tuned into the lifemovespodcast.com, please do so. Michael, it's amazing that you've put together so many hours of wisdom that you share, and it's really a value, so I'd encourage anybody who is struggling or has people that you've allowed into your life that judge you or devalue you or look at you negatively to really pull back and say, no, that's not me. I have gifted. I have people that I can bring in my life that will support me and love me unconditionally. And I'm going to write a new story and really change what it is because, everything you think, feel, believe, you can draw into your life. So why not it be fun, joy, and great
happiness,
amounts of silly laughter,
prosperity.
And
galore,
and prosperity,
abundance galore. All of that is waiting for all of us. We just have to believe that we're worthy of it. Trust in ourselves and how we're feeling. And when we're not feeling the way we want to feel, change it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
This has been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you to Jesse at PRNFM
Yes.
for allowing us this time and space to allow our energy field to connect with those individuals who want to connect to love and the frequencies that really are possible to create a new world. And Michael, I'll let you close out the show because you do it so eloquently. If I'm putting you on the spot, then
okay.
I'm happy to do it.
I will simply say that I have a friend who's having an issue trusting himself. Once you decide that you're going to take and create your own reality, you must trust in the process. You must have faith in yourself. You must trust that everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out. So when you're in between things, when things don't happen so quickly for you, know that just keep working the plan, keep working the process, working on yourself, and it will bear fruit. It will bear fruit. Just believe, trust yourself, have faith in the process. Okay?
Thank you. And look forward to connecting with you again next week.
Thank you. Take care.